Hi, church family. This is Gary West.
I'm Emily Taylor.
And that's Marjorie.
Yep.
And it's Thanksgiving time, and we wanted to know your stories, your family traditions, your funny stories, anything that you guys do at Thanksgiving. We want to know. And then what are we going to do with those, Emily?
You are going to email them to us. So listen up. Our email is thecastfirstassembly@gmail.com. Okay? So again, if you didn't hear it or you weren't paying attention or talking to your neighbor, thecastfirstassembly@gmail.com. And then we'll read all those. And we may not be able to mention them all, but we'll get to as many as we can.
And if it's something you want to stay anonymous about, just don't put your name or put anonymous on there, and we won't mention you by name.
Okay, we're looking forward to it. Send them as soon as possible. Thank you.
It's not
Welcome
bad.
to the cast. We're so glad that we have you here listening and joining us for this next episode. As you can see, if you're watching on the video, there is one more addition to our episode tonight. So we are going to kick it off with introduction. I'm Emily. Gary is my co-host, Pastor Chris, and then Pastor Chris's other half, Amy. Yay! Welcome, Amy.
Hey, it's great to be here.
We're glad that you're here. So we are going to do things a little different tonight. Pastor Chris and Amy are going to run the show. So sit back, relax, and enjoy what they have to say, because it's always wise.
Is Amy here to filter? Is she on supervision?
Unfortunately, I will not screen anything I say, so she won't be able to stop me. It's just gonna come straight out. In fact, okay, so we're listening to the first episode.
Yeah.
And I made a comment, and she looked at me. We're driving, and she looks at me and she says, "I don't know that I trust you to do this."
and we see the fruits of that, right?
And I can't blame her. So yeah, we're good. We're good.
Awesome. Well, what are we calling this? We're going to do a little blurb beforehand, before we get started.
Something
a little fun
fun.
blurb. Okay, Shannon and Tia, you're leading us. From the Peanut Gallery. We're ready.
Why do we call it the Peanut Gallery?
It's where the peanuts are.
Good.
There you go.
That was great.
The wise words of Tim Ray's.
Is that good? This is a little thing that you guys, we all know what dead letter laws are, right? Laws that are not enforced, but still are on the books across our great country. I'm going to give you 2 lies and a truth, and you just tell me which one you think would be the truth.
Okay.
Understood?
Yeah.
We're ready.
Let's go.
Are we all involved in this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
everybody wants to throw it out there. This is round 1. Number 1, in Texas, it is illegal to transport sheep via a donkey.
True.
Wait.
You got to get all 3.
I got to do them all 3. Come on, Gary. Number 2, in Idaho, it's illegal to read a romantic novel out loud in public. Last one for round 1 is number 3, in Alabama. It's illegal to play dominoes on Sunday. One of those is the truth, 2's a lie.
Oh, shoot. I thought it was the other way
Oh.
I'm going
around.
with the
It's 2.
Alabama one.
2 are lies?
Yeah.
Correct.
Alabama's a lie.
No.
No, I think that's
I
true.
think-
one.
That sounds like something else.
Dominoes on Sunday?
That's my answer. I don't know
Yeah,
what
I
you all
think that's
do.
true, because that would be like dominoes were gambling back in
Gambling.
the day. So that's definitely out. I think the same with the Idaho one. I think the Idaho one is a lie, is true as well.
There's only 2.
There's only one truth.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
no.
2 lies.
I
That
mean,
can't be
yeah.
true.
Oh, there's 2 lies.
Yeah, that's what I
That's
got
what
tripped
I
up
thought we
on.
were. So you think in Texas you could carry sheep on a?
On a donkey. Isn't that what it was? Carry
Yeah.
sheep?
Yeah.
Yes. I believe so.
I think that's
Remember,
true.
these laws go back into like the 1800s.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I mean, if they just straddled it over, they probably, yeah. It's a possibility.
So 2 of them are lies.
Correct.
So 2 of them are incorrect, and 1 is true?
2 are made up
Okay.
by someone, and then the other ones, I've Google checked it, and it's correct.
Oh, the Googles have said it's true.
Can we phone a friend? Because
No.
Rhett might know about the sheep.
He lives in Indiana, Gary.
That's
He doesn't
true.
know about Texas sheep laws.
I'm sure there's some reciprocity between the states.
Hiltonville's just about as country as you can get.
All right, we gotta make a call.
Yep.
You guys go ahead. You have more. You're more confident than I am on your answers.
I'm not confident, but it just sounded right.
I'm
Do you
going
think
with
the Alabama one?
That's what I'm going
That's
with.
what I want to go with.
The
too.
truth
I think
one.
I'm going Alabama.
Alabama's true.
All 4 of you?
Yeah.
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 All right, you're all 4 right.
Yeah. Woo! Give me 5.
Yeah,
there.
there are many activities in Alabama that are currently illegal, including hunting, shooting, playing cards, and any type of racing. So technically, those are still illegal today. Wow. All right.
Only on
Even the
Sundays.
hunting?
So everybody's got a point. Everybody's winning or everybody's losing. Round 2. Number 1, in Washington, this is Washington State, it is illegal to kill Bigfoot. Number 2, in Oklahoma, it is illegal to teach your horse to talk. And number 3, in Kansas, it is illegal to drive your car while holding an umbrella. Again, 2 lies, 1 truth.
Oh, man. I'm sad that any of them are true.
This one's a conundrum. Last one was obvious to me.
Yeah. What was the first option?
Why do you need to hold an umbrella while driving your car?
Well, maybe the window's broken.
Raining. And
Well, they
maybe
have
You
a-
don't have a
they-
roof?
Yeah, like
A lot of the
real
other
early
cars
didn't have roofs.
Oh, yeah, this goes way back.
Oh.
The first one was Washington State not killing Bigfoot.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why that was ever in the books.
But
But
it could be a
could have
lie.
been.
It could, I mean, they love Bigfoot up
I mean,
there.
in
I'm
case
just
they
saying.
find him, they don't want him killed.
That's
Yeah,
right.
right. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
But in
All right.
D.C., there's no woods.
No, Washington State.
Oh.
It's pretty woody.
This is helping me.
There are
I'm
no
just like,
woods.
I don't go. I'm not going for this, guys.
I mean, everyone
I'm not
loves
going
the
for
mall.
the DC.
Oh, my.
That gives a little perspective.
There it is.
Emily?
All right, somebody
Yeah,
else
we
has to
gotta-
go
we
on
gotta
this
go.
one. I'm not.
I'm gonna roll with the Bigfoot one being true because those people, they're all like tree hugging, forest people.
If anyone is listening from Washington, you are tree hugging forest people.
I'm just they're protecting
Okay, no,
their
that's great.
own.
Yeah, that's great.
You guys, what do you say?
Yeah. What do you think, babe?
Honestly, I'm really struggling with this one, but I feel like the umbrella is more believable than that.
Okay. Okay.
So I
Gary,
feel
what
like
do
I
you
have to
got?
go for umbrella.
I'm going with B. Always guess B.
Teaching your horse to talk?
Yeah.
In Oklahoma, do you think that's true? You were
I'm just playing the
all right.
the odds here.
And I actually am gonna join my wife, and I think the umbrella one is true.
It is number 1. Washington, it is illegal to kill Bigfoot.
Thank you.
Emily, you
Thank
are
you.
so strong.
You're all welcome.
Winning.
Bigfoot is actually protected under the Washington wildlife laws. As early 1991 is when they last kind of re-upped that law to still protect him. But it's been in the book since like the 60s.
Was that like the same time they made the movie Harry and the Hendersons?
Probably.
Maybe people kind of got the thought. We're gonna
Oh,
go out and-
in Washington State, yeah, he's huge.
yeah,
I mean, I guess he's huge everywhere, but
yeah.
it's really
I mean, there are several shows about Bigfoot. Not a show,
Yeah.
but multiple shows, plural.
Wow, this has been very enlightening. I feel like we could just be done right now, honestly. Everything that just happened.
She's already. That took 5
out.
minutes and she's out.
She's out.
He's done.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks, Shannon.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
I do like that.
Full of good knowledge. Yeah. All
If we
right.
can call it that.
If you can call it that.
Good knowledge.
It's good knowledge.
It's definitely good.
Yes. Well, we're going to pass it off to Chris to get this boat rolling.
Sure. So next couple episodes, we're going to process through the mission statement and then the vision statement that I just had a chance to share with the church. A little bit of background, and then we're gonna dive in. We spent a good portion of the last school year working with a team of people, just processing through where we're going, why do we exist, what do we want to be, what do we want, who are we, what matters to us, and kind of through that journey, we came up with the 2 statements that I've dealt with and what I'll keep dealing with in the next few weeks. And I wanted to take some time on the podcast just to talk through some of your initial responses to it, maybe any questions you might have to it. Just get your input. Like, okay, great. I've done now 2 messages, and I want us to process it a bit. What does that mean? How do we apply it? What are your thoughts on it? So that's kind of where we're going to go. So we'll start This episode will deal with our mission statement, which I preached through a few Sundays ago. And I'll be official and read it because I want to make sure I get it right, just not off the top of my head. Bedford First Assembly exists to love God authentically and love people into life. So I talked a little bit as I went through it about, I kind of broke all of those things down. I used, in my message, I used we instead for Bedford First Assembly because it doesn't roll off the tongue terribly easy.
Right.
So I started with we, and then we walked our way through it. So I'm going to ask this from all three of you, and then I want to talk a little more specifically about what does it mean to love God authentically and love people into life. And there may be some crossover in this initial question, is just what are your impressions? What are the things that jump to your mind from what I spoke on, from what you've had to digest since then? What are your initial thoughts? I'd love to hear from you, all three of you.
Well, let me pull up my notes.
But
Go ahead, Gary.
Okay. The life part is what sticks out to me in the mission statement. Love people into life, because that is ultimately what Jesus is, what God is life. And the Bible is just full of examples of how he brings us life and we can live it to our fullest when we're with him and that kind of thing. And there's joy and benefits to be had here on earth while you're here. You don't have to wait till you get to heaven. You can have heaven here on earth by following him, finding peace in him, and those kinds of things. So the life part is what sticks out to me.
Sure. Okay. Emily?
For me, it's just the word mission in general. And I don't know, it kind of gives an overview, like, this is why I'm here. This is why we're all here. Jesus dined with sinners and, people that are imperfect. And to me, I'm thinking, this isn't just for me to come in every Sunday, or all of us to come in every Sunday. Like, this is an actual mission. We're here to work. So I don't know. To me, I think it's more of like a tighten down your bootstraps, or whatever that saying is. And it's time to get going.
Sure.
So
okay,
that's kind of how I look at it.
Cool. Aim?
Well, I think for me, there's so many things I could say about it, because it's actually a short statement that's packed with a lot of things, which is why you were able to preach on it for a decent amount of time.
Easy.
But just decent, babe.
Thanks, babe.
But obviously, I think that my first thought is we have to be able to love God. We have to be loving God ourselves. So that's like initial reflection of, where am I in my walk with the Lord? Am I loving him in a way that people want to have what I have? And then as I do that, then I can be leading other people into that. So for me, it's kind of a question. It's thought-provoking, like, where am I in my walk with the Lord? Is it attractional? Is it something that people want? Does it look like I have life so that people want what I have, that I can lead them into that?
Yeah, I think all of those are interesting. You've all picked up on something different that I think is important. I'm going to lean into Emily's because that's where the statement starts. Why does the church exist? And I know the easy answer is to say to love God and love people.
Sure.
But to me, that's the heart of it. If we don't understand why we're here, then...
Are you talking big C or small c?
Yes.
Talking about us?
Yes.
Or the church?
Well, all the above. I mean, I think I would not be satisfied without drilling it down to us here, this local body of believers at 2601 27th Street. But I think in general, I mean, I don't know that we can detach our reason for being completely from the rest of the Big C Church. I think they're a little bit interconnected, but a bit of both. But why do we exist?
I think the surface answer is God chose us to be his hands and his feet and to go out into the world and spread the good news. So that's orders from headquarters, as they say, to preach the good news. That's why we exist, is to give people hope and light and that kind of thing.
Sure. Sure. I made up a word.
Okay, I'm ready.
Well, do you know?
Another the one
No,
you
no.
used
The
on
one. Which one did I? What word did I make up? Come on now.
The invitation command. It was a commandvication.
Commandvitation.
Commandvitation.
Oh, yes.
I said cation.
Commandvitation.
Commandvitation. Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that's an important component. What did I mean when I said commandvitation?
Well, it's a commandment. So God expects it of us, and yet we can't make anyone do anything. So that's why you called it a commandication.
Commandvitation.
Is because he's inviting us to be part of what he's asked us to do. And he's really commanding it, but we have to make the choice to actually obey and do what he's asking us to do. So that's why I guess you combine the word command and the commandment with the invitation. So we can't make anyone do anything.
No,
God can't even make us do it.
Well, because
I mean, I guess he technically could, but
no,
he chooses not to.
I don't even think he can, because the commandment is to love.
That's hard.
Well, not only is it hard, but you can't force it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can force people to do a lot of things, but what I can't do is force them to love. I can force them to serve. I can force them to obey. I could do a lot of stuff. What you can't do is force someone to love something or someone. I'll eat mushrooms till I'm blue in the face, but I'm not gonna love them because they're fungus. So that ain't gonna happen. But you understand what I'm so
Yeah.
to me it's an interesting statement, because I've always read it's the great commandment: love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And as we were digesting it, as I was preparing for it, I'm like, yeah, but you can't force someone to love anybody. And as much as it's time to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and I love that thought, I love the imagery of that thought. The end of the day, that can't be forced.
No.
And so we exist to do something that, as Amy said, only we can choose to do. So what stops us from choosing to do it?
Can I be honest?
I'd prefer you to be deceitful.
Oh, okay. Great. I mean, I'm very guilty of this, but I'll be first to say laziness.
Mm-hmm.
So that, to me, that's just something I would struggle with. Like, well, it's easier to just do my own thing. Going back to what you said, it's our choice. It's just free will. And like, am I going to do this? It'll be fine. I'll do it another time. You know, so.
It may require something of me. That's the hard part. Like, it may require me to put others before myself. Like serve, or I don't know, provide grace to somebody who I don't think deserves it. It's going to require action on our end. That makes it tough.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that go into it, but I don't even know that it's super purposeful that we're not doing it. I just think we have tunnel vision. We're busy doing our own thing, living our own life, just kind of keeping to ourselves, staying focused to which is somewhat what Gary was saying, in that we have to think of someone besides ourselves. But I think sometimes it's even more innocent than that. We're just very busy and focused on what we're doing, so we don't think about our neighbor, which is obviously not loving them very well either. But I also think it's just that we're not super passionate or deep enough in our walk with the Lord that we're so crazy about him that we can't keep from expressing that love, or it like overflowing out of us where other people are even just seeing it without us even saying anything. So I think there's more than one thing. That's why I started with the whole, where am I with my love for Jesus? Because if I really love him as passionately as I want to think that I do, then it's not going to be difficult to share about him. It's going to happen naturally and easily. And so that's part of it. I think that, again, it's a check of ourselves. If we're not just super passionate about sharing this Jesus that we love so much, then do we really love him so much?
And I appreciate what you've said there, because I think most of us we're not malignant in our lack of expressing or showing or living out. I think most of us are fairly benign in it all. Like, our lives are crazy. I've said from the pulpit many times, I think one of the greatest tactics of the enemy in our current day and age is to keep us so busy that we don't have time for anybody or anything. And when we do get a moment, we're like, I'm so exhausted. I'm so spent. I got nothing to give. And it's not even just I don't want to or I'm lazy. I mean, I think it's a spectrum of reasons for all of us. And sometimes it depends on the day or what's happening in my own life, or I'm spent or whatever. I think that for me, I think it is that spectrum. I think sometimes it's just, man, I didn't even, I mean, how many times have you looked back and thought, oh man, I could have done this, or I could have done this, or I could have done this. That's often what I find. I'm like, I don't think of it in the moment. I have brain freeze. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh, I could have done this or this or this. And it would have been easy and wouldn't have really cost me much. I think that, to me, that's kind of a dynamic that gets thrown in the mix as well. Is just, have I created space for it? Am I looking for it? Am I leaning into it? Am I chasing it down? Well, just all of that, I think. So the reality is that it is a command-vitation. You can't force it, you can't make it, but it's also commanded, and so that creates a tension that we're all kind of navigating in. In Matthew, and it's echoed in the other Gospels. It's a two-pronged commandment. Command-vitation, invitation is to love God authentically and to lead people and love people into life. So I think I'd like to unpack that first statement a little bit. Love God authentically. What does it mean to love God authentically? Anyone want to
Why is everybody looking at me here? I did the first two first.
Okay.
You did the first two.
All right. Aim?
Well, being authentic just means it's genuine. It's like who you really are. Mm-hmm. It's like who am I really? So it's not this put on church self of, oh, I'm supposed to do this, so I do 1, 2, 3, and that means I am this person who loves Jesus. Is it, again, back to kind of what I said before, it's going to be repetitive, but if I really love him, then it's something that's obvious. It's something that other people see. It's reflected in how I act. It's reflected in like just every part of me. And so I think authentic is just genuine. It's really the true self. It's it's not just the, by personality I'm this way. It's my character. It's like deep down.
All right. Excellent. Emma?
Yep. I'm loving what you said, the character. And I think you and I had talked about it the other night. We've been in church. So, you call me a church kid. I grew up my whole life in church, and you're at this point, if you've paid attention long enough, between kind of the fluff and what's real. And so for me, it's, are you that same person every single time in your worship with the Lord, or, whatever, day in and day out. So authentic is just, to me, you're being the consistent, I'm getting my words mixed up, but you're consistently the same person in all your actions and words, no matter where you are, whether you're in the church or outside the church. If you claim that you're loving Jesus and love God, it's the same. You're no different. That's just my personal take on it.
And I appreciate that. I also think if we're not careful, then trying to be the same always doesn't give us a chance to be real as well, because the reality is we're not always the same. We're walking through different circumstances. We have bad hair days. We have good hair days. We have all kinds of stuff. I think I understand what you're saying, though, is that it's the striving to be not one way in church and one way out of church.
Yeah.
We're striving to be the same regardless of where we are.
Being monotone in your character would be kind of boring.
Sure.
So, yeah. But, yes, that's right, what you were saying.
Cool. All right. Gary?
I think if you have an authentic relationship with God, you're going to have some ups and downs. You're going to have some moments. I know I do in my marriage, and I think there's a book, right, where there's love languages, and there's different love languages.
There is.
Well, actions would be, or an act of service, right?
That's one of them.
That's one of them. So it's easy, I think, because Holly always says, I love you. Well, to me, that's easy. Was it a word of affirmation? That's easy to say. Where's the acts of service, I guess? And so when it comes to God, if we're loving him authentically, are there any acts of service there? just me. I might be wrong, but
No, I mean, obviously, James talks about that faith without works is dead. So he implies there's got to be fruit of that love. When I think about this idea of being authentic, because there's a lot of words we could have put there, love God obediently, love God perfectly, love God diligently.
Here's that fly. I knew it would. It landed right on my nose.
Yay.
That's great. Hope everybody enjoyed that.
If you're listening to this, Amy just had a fly. He's really interested in joining the conversation.
That's great.
Land on her face.
Went to my nose. Hopefully it won't get my mouth next.
Yeah, just don't sit with your mouth open, and that'll probably take care of that.
I can't help but smile. So.
No, I think for me, authentic is the right word because it gives us it gives us space to be human. If we were to say love God perfectly, well, we're all out. If we're going to say love God obediently, I think it misses a little bit of the mark. Yes, obedience should be part of loving God, but it misses a little bit of that a bit. I think for me, the authentic part of loving God is it coming from a place of where I really am, and for the capacity that I have in that moment. My kids loved me when they were 3 and loved me when they were 9 and loved me when they were 13 and loved me when they're 18 and loved me when they're in their 20s. But it's very different. It's not a wrong kind of love for that age, but it changes. It grows. My kids will occasionally say things that are really cool as a dad to hear. And now it's not because they have to or because they want something from me or it's not even expressed in the simplicity of childlikeness. It's now expressed as a mature adult saying, Dad, I really appreciate this. I really love you about this. And so even in that, I think it gives space for us to grow into something. I love God differently now than I did 5 years ago, than I did 25 years ago. And in part, that's not because I was disingenuous before and genuine now, but because I've grown and I've changed and I've become something more. So now my love looks like something more. I mean, Amy and I celebrated 30 years this year. Good night. And I love her as intensely as I did, but it's different now. It's changed. It's matured. And so for me, that word authentically, it implies real. It implies genuine. There's not fakeness involved to it. I think one of the great challenges is exactly what you said, Emily, is to be the same person in church as you are out of church. And somewhere along the line, we have this idea that as long as we're good in church, that it's not going to matter. And I don't know if I've said this before here or not, but one of the most, okay, I understand what people mean when they say this, but it is not unusual for me to walk up to a group of people and people to go, "Oh, the pastor is here. Let's be good." And my first response is, "You don't stand before me when you get to heaven. So if the only reason you're good is I'm here, then you're going to be in trouble when you get there." And if I'm being completely honest, it kind of irks me a little bit. But I'm like, no, I got to love God, and if I love Him authentically, then it doesn't matter where I am or what space I am. And it also gives me some space to be myself and be human, not do it right, not do it well, but to be growing in it in the same way that my children grow. They don't do things perfectly. I don't do things perfectly. As I grow and learn, that maturity in that particular area is developed. And so I think for me, loving God, I mean, obviously to love God is the first step. It's what comes first with everything that I am. And that's what it says. Heart, soul, mind, strength is what eventually gets, if you put them all together. I think how I love Him is exercised in those statements. It's every part of me. He gets all of me. I love Him with everything that I am. I don't just love Him with one part of me or another part of me, but that's flowing from a place of authenticity. And I think what Amy has said is that everything else begins with that authentic love for God, imperfect, immature, growing, changing, developing. But it's got to be real or it does no good. It's got to be authentic or it does no good. I would argue that it isn't really love if it isn't authentic.
Right. And some people too, like I think, hearing you speak right now, loving Him without expecting anything in return would be authentic to me too. I mean, we're not doing this, we're not loving Him to get a wish granted to us.
Absolutely. And in fact, I think a lot of people get the order wrong. Some of you have been in on Wednesday nights, but if we love in order to become versus being and then loving out of that being, if we do in order to become versus doing because we've already become, it's exactly what you're saying. The reality is I can't do something in order to become something. And I need to know I'm not loving God, air quotes, in order to be loved by God. I love God because I've already been loved by God. And if he does nothing more, he's already done enough.
Absolutely.
And yet he tells us over and over again he wants to do more, which blows my mind. He wants to walk with us closely. He wants to walk in relationship with us, which is incredible. But you're right. To say I'm going to love God to get something from God, that's not even really love. That's transactional.
I think there's also space a little bit for that, because I like what you said as far as there's a process, and it's not done purposefully, but as you're a more immature, very new Christian, some people get saved just because they're scared of hell. They're not getting saved because they love Jesus with all of their heart. They're getting saved because it was the right thing to do and they felt compelled. And then you grow into the reasons and the way.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think some of that is, maybe sometimes our motive is a little off, and that's okay, because it's a learning process. And as we love him more and we know more about him, the more we know him, the more we love him. It's just like in our relationship. We thought we loved each other more than we could have ever possibly loved each other when we were 22 getting married.
We did.
But now that we're 30 years in, we understand that we didn't even know what we needed to know to love each other in the depth that we do now, because now we've had the experience. We've been in the ups and downs. We've done all the stuff, and we've been, loyal to each other and all the things. And as that happens in our relationship with the Lord, also the time grows all of those things. Then our love is deeper. So I think some of that is, I like that you gave space for the fact that it's not the same. It's not a quantity versus quality thing. And yet, as you know more and you spend more time with the Lord and you've been in this for a little bit longer, then there is a depth to it that makes it wider and deeper and all of the things. But some people might, in the beginning, really think, well, God is going to bless me, so I'm going to love him. And that isn't necessarily the right motive. And yet he's gracious and he blesses us anyways. And then as he does, we're like, oh, wow, he really does do what he says he's going to do. And he came through, and whatever the testimony is of the time. And God just teaches us that. And then we look back and we're like, oh, man, I was actually kind of immature in the way that I thought about that. And I just didn't even know that. But you don't know enough to know.
Absolutely.
So I think there's space. It's like a spectrum.
Yeah.
And I think there's space for us to learn and grow in the process. And that's part of why we're doing what we're doing today, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why we brought you on.
Oh,
Is
okay.
for that.
Yeah, no,
Okay, great.
for sure.
Great.
Well, and you get a little bit of a glimpse into our lives together. I find that Amy often brings a perspective that is nuanced in a way that my brain doesn't always necessarily run down that path, or doesn't articulate it as well as she does. So I think that's really well said, babe.
Yeah, thanks.
So to me, at the end of the day, though, authenticity helps people to know it's really where they are, and that's what you're saying. Like, okay, right now, my space is really a space of, look, I just don't want to go to hell. I mean, that's why I got saved. I raised my hand when you made that statement. Of course, people can't hear me raising my hand if they're just listening. But and that's okay. I don't think that's wrong. I don't think that's invalid. I think we can do a lot of things for a lot of reasons. Hey, I'm in trouble, and I invited Jesus to come in. I don't think, but it's that space of growing into understanding that I really did not want to go to hell when I was in third grade. So I really did accept him as my Lord and Savior. Do I know him differently now than I did then? Absolutely. Being authentic doesn't mean that's wrong, or that where I am now is right or wrong, or where I will be in 10 or 15 years is wrong either. I think it gives space for us to be human while still moving forward and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of the first part of the statement, is to love God authentically. The second one is to love people into life. What does that statement mean to you? Amy, you go first. Everybody else has gone first.
Well, this was Gary's favorite part, so I thought Gary was going to be so pumped he was going to jump in. But I think loving people into life is loving people into a relationship like we're experiencing, assuming that we've already gotten the love God part. And then loving people into a space. So it's more than just, we need to invite people to church. We need to whatever. No, we're loving them where they are in their journey. We're loving them. Maybe they do become believers and they are now experiencing this life, the beginning part of the life that we're talking about. And yet now we're discipling them. We're walking with them. Like it's the whole spectrum. It's not a very small part. So for me, loving them into life is, depending on where people are in their process, depends on what that requires of me. But it's more than just saying, hey, by the way, there's this guy called Jesus and you should know him. And then we're done. And then we walk away and we move on. No, it's loving them is implying that we're walking with them. We're actually showing the love of Jesus, regardless of whether they know him and are in relationship with him or not, or whether they're in the very beginning or where they are. But we're loving them into a relationship with Jesus and then walking with them in this relationship. So it, to me, implies a process of sort of a discipleship process where we walk with people.
Absolutely. Emily?
Oh, gosh. I was hoping you'd go with Gary next. I mean, you're more than welcome
I can try.
Okay,
All right,
go for
lay
it.
on us.
And this may not answer your question, but on the way here, I was backing out of the driveway. I've got Rylan in the truck with me, and he said, "What are you guys talking about on the podcast tonight?" He wanted to know. So I said, "We're covering the mission, vision, and value statement that Pastor Chris has covered the last 2 Sundays." And he said, "Oh yeah," and I'm messing this up, but it was really cool. The sequence of events. I said, "We want to introduce Jesus to people so they'll know who he is, and then that they can have a good life and go to heaven, like which we've talked about already." And he said, "Yeah, because you had said something on Sunday about there's going to be people who have attended church their entire lives that will stand before God, and Jesus will say, 'I don't know you.'" And he understood that we were trying to help them develop a relationship. And at some point, he brought up, based on that statement, he said something about Michael Jordan. He said, "So I know about Michael Jordan, but I don't know him." And I said, "Yeah, exactly, buddy. So if you showed up to Michael Jordan's house and told him you knew all of his stats, like how many MVPs he won, how many championships he won, how many points he scored, he's still not going to let you in the house because he doesn't know you. But if you were his son and you didn't know any of that stuff and you knocked on his door, he would let you in." He's like, "Yeah." So he correlated that. So that's kind of, I think, what we're trying to do is love people into a life where they know not only about Jesus, but they know who he is. More importantly, there's that relationship aspect. So.
There's several things I want to applaud. First off, that your son's first reference is Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
I applaud the fathering that's just happened right there. So well done.
I don't know why he went there, but it was a perfect.
Listen, I'm gonna give you credit for that.
Appreciate it.
Holly's not talking to him about Michael Jordan. Let's be honest.
That's true.
No, but I think it's cool that he's willing to have that kind of a conversation with you, and he's you are loving him into life, and I find that. There's almost nothing more rewarding to me than having conversations with my kids.
Yeah.
And as I've tried to do it along the way in moments like that and be that authentic and genuine lover of Jesus in front of them, now as they're in their early 20s, we're having conversations about things that are absolutely phenomenal, deep, really working through it stuff. And yet that is what life is. Yeah. Awesome. I love that. Emily?
That was really good.
We're back to you.
Okay. So for me, I think of I'm sure you guys have heard this already. It seems to be a more popular statement, but make heaven crowded. And I don't know. I dwell on that statement. And at first I felt like, okay, this is pretty cliche. But the more I got into my walk with Jesus, I'm like, oh, that's clicking with me. And to me, I'm thinking, why do I not want somebody to go to heaven? And like you had said, you don't want to just get them started, then drop off and move on. You want to hold their hand and, kind of guide them, lead them along the way. And for me, I guess when you're wanting to love them into life, you're wanting to be real with them, and so I want to be able to use my challenges, my stories, whatever, and let people know you're not alone. I guess if any of this is making sense, that way they know they're not walking, into something that they don't know how to mature in. It's like a teacher, they just kind of guide you over time, and so I guess it's a challenge to become that teacher. So yeah, that's my thought, and to bring more people.
Yeah, when I think about what Jesus has for us, I can't get away from this idea of life. It's been something that has been the longer that we're back here, and I'm pastoring, and I'm thinking daily, okay, what are we going to be about? Where are we going? What are we encouraging people into? I don't want to lead people into church attendance. I would like people to attend church. I want church to be valuable enough that people are like, hey, I'm going to get there. But the reality is that, and this is going to sound maybe a little harsher than I mean it to, but people do what they want to do. So if we find value in it, then we're going to sacrifice for it. We're going to commit ourselves to it. And so what Jesus is inviting us into is the most valuable thing ever. And I think for years and years and years, and maybe this is a little unfair, but maybe it's my own life that I felt this way, but there was a long time in my life where I thought, well, as long as I go to church, then I'm good. And yet God's like, that's not the totality of the life that I have for you. I have this thing that's going to impact every moment of every day. What he's inviting us into is not just a set of do's and don'ts. He's inviting us into this life that in the low times, or in the difficult times, that he's present and with us, and in the good times and in the high times he's present with us, that he's giving gifts of grace to us over and over. I mean, and you guys have heard me preach on it, but I'm still stuck in that Romans passage where it says we have been given access to his grace. That's the kind of life that he wants to give to us when we love God authentically. What he gives us is life. And of course we can unpack what that means, but this life that goes so beyond, and not that it removes all difficulty and removes all stress and removes all straining, but it changes the way we walk through it. And so for me, I'm like, I don't want to invite people to church attendance. I want to invite them into, I want to lead them. I want to walk them into something and walk with them in something. And that's why I think love is such an important word there, because for me, love is so much more than a feeling. There is feelings. There is emotion that goes with it. But as Amy and I have deepened, there is a commitment. There's a connectedness. When I say I love Amy, it's born of years of walking together. I don't like her every moment. She doesn't like me every moment.
I do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. But that love is a commitment. And I talked a little bit about what does it mean to love on Sunday when I talked both times. To me, that's the deal. It's that I'm going to walk with you long enough to love you long enough that you're going to find this life. And so it gives space for ups and downs and ins and outs and imperfections, but we're all headed towards something. And that something is the life that only comes from Jesus. And so I see in those two things, I'm going to love my neighbor as I love myself. It does imply some potential sacrifice. It does imply some giving up of things and putting on things. And it does imply doing some things and not doing some things. But it should come from a place of commitment to one another. I think if we could love each other well inside the church, I think we wouldn't have to do evangelism ever again, because people would be like, I'd like that. It's why I think in the early church, I mean, there are people literally, I mean, one of the stories that sticks out in my head of the early church is they were carted out to a middle of a frozen lake, and they were told, you will stay there until you die. And they huddled together, and one of the guards says, what I see in you is so beautiful, that he literally dropped all of his armor, walks out to the center of the lake, says, what do I got to do to have this? And then literally dies with them. It's so attractional. You hear stories of all the time. I'm like, I want to love people into a life that says, I don't care what I got to abandon to get that. I want that. And you look at, I want to, Jesus walks up on the side of the seashore and says, hey, you and you, come follow me. Mm-hmm. And they abandon it all. Yeah. What was it about him? And I think I know because I've met him, and I think I've experienced it, and I don't always do it perfectly, and I don't get it all right all the time. But the overall trajectory of my life is to move into what he has for me. And I think if we could be about loving people into life, I think we wouldn't have to, I don't think we'd have to do an outreach or a quote unquote evangelism again, because people would be like, I don't know what you got. And I see it happening in our church. I did a wedding recently for someone who wrote such a beautiful note to me. It's pastor appreciation, and they wrote a note, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but it was your coworker that led you, that loved you into this place of life. And they came to church, they met their future husband. I mean, such a cool story. Mm-hmm. Because I wasn't worried about getting them to church. I was worried about getting them to Jesus. Because I'm not worried about getting them to fill up a roster. I'm getting them to walk in life that he has for them. And to me, that's such an important statement in all of this, that we exist first to love God, because it all starts with that. I got to love him for real. I got to be willing to do it all, the things, and give it all. And when I meet him for real, I think it's easier. The more I know him, the easier it gets. And then that second dynamic is to say, yeah, you've invited me in to this journey. It's why I struggle with even now calling it a commandment. It absolutely is a commandment. But what a beautiful invitation to walk with him in leading other people into life. If we can lean into that even more than we are, and I do think we do it as a church.
I'm going to help you land this ship, my love.
Oh, wow. Okay, it's landed. Thanks.
Oh.
You can't say that. You can't say that and then be like, there's no recovering from that.
There is recovering. I just wanted to mention one more thing.
Sure.
I think you were done with that part, weren't you?
Sure.
Okay. But I just wanted to say the last part about the life part. I thought you were.
He is now.
I am definitely am.
Okay, well, here I am. At the end, I think the future part of that, which is also cool about this, is that our goal is to love people into eternity with him, which is the ultimate life gift that the Lord has for us. And it's obviously not the only thing that we're reaching for. We're not only trying for heaven. That's why we're talking about what we've been talking about for the last while. But there also is ultimately that ultimate gift of life that the Lord is offering us as well, the eternal life with him. And so I think it's a double bonus, a double portion of life. And maybe that wasn't the intention at all, but I think that some of the intention of that mission statement was also like, we're loving people into an eternity with Christ. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's life here on earth that's better and more and greater, and we can live in a freedom that goes beyond what a lot of people are experiencing. And then ultimately at the end, we get to have life with him. That's the most beautiful reward of all.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
it's a life that never ends.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was any part of what you were planning on talking about, but I thought that was important to just point out at the end of the
absolutely
time. Oh, there's your lucky fly.
There he is.
Get him, Amy.
He's landed. No,
Smack
please
him.
don't.
Smack him.
Please don't.
I desperately want to kill that fly, but I know as soon as I move by it, although it seemed pretty small.
Yeah.
Slow.
Anyway, yeah, so that's it. We exist to love God authentically and to love people into life.
We do.
Yeah.
And we're excited about doing it.
Absolutely.
You guys are great.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. You landed that ship well. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to land the ship when the clock is past time.
Yeah.
So that's going to end it for today's episode. And we will pick this up again next episode. So thank you for joining us, and tune back in for part 2 next week.
This has been The Cast, a production of Bedford First Assembly of God in Bedford, Indiana. Your hosts were Emily Taylor and Gary West, produced by Shannon Hiles and Tia Hiles, and engineered by Tim Ray. Be sure to watch for new episodes of The Cast every Monday.